fact that there can be people who experience all sorts of temptations and desires and have focused primarily only upon the acting out of those things and not those who choose not to act out of those. So there's no question of that fact. My concern, and it's a concern that is very, very deep, is that what I have seen almost ubiquitously amongst those who have that, who raise these issues, is to define the church and the gospel in light of their experience rather than defining their experience in light of the church and the gospel. Let me switch over to my time here, and maybe I can. This is the last 10 minutes. I want to expand on that. I'll try to expand on that in my closing statement if I don't get around to it. First question. I couldn't tell from your book. There's only really two major questions I feel like we really need to get through. I couldn't tell from your book at the end. The first time I listened to it, I thought I had not recorded all of it because it was like, and then I discovered I was in the footnotes, so I had to be in the end. So
I'm going to quote you in the next edition of the book. I wish there was more.
Yeah, put that right next to Brian McLaren's endorsement. But anyways, you should listen to my debate with Brian on the Unbelievable Radio broadcast. It was fun. Anyways, here's my question. You've changed some of your views. Are you open to the possibility of your entering into a same-sex relationship with another man as a Christian now?
So,
because I couldn't tell from the book.
Yeah. So, here's the challenge for me in answering that. The short answer is yes. The longer answer is yes, and I realize that raises a whole ton of questions that I can't get into in this forum because I'm here representing the organization that I'm representing in the way that I'm representing it, and so I'm representing a lot of people who would strongly disagree with me on that point, and so I don't want to turn this forum into a forum on kind of where am I currently in my scriptural views on that, as much as I want to represent folks like Wesley who would strongly condemn me in that and who is my friend.
Would there ever be a context where you could?
Yeah,
could you ever foresee one?
Absolutely. But it would have to be. It would have to be the right time and place, the right context. Because I think it's important to.
Will you keep me in mind when that time comes?
In mind, yes. I make no other promises than that.
I got that message loud and clear. Okay. I'll keep you in mind. Okay. I think one question that really, really does, and I can't see how this is a violation of your position in light of the fact that you did address it in your book and you are an author. Would you have comfort to at least explain how you understand 1 Corinthians 6 and the past tense of the verb that is used, and such were some of you? I mean, do you just simply say, well, we can't know because we don't know what arsenokoites means? Or why does Paul use the past tense? Because the subtitle of the book is Rescuing the Gospel. And clearly, I doubt you would disagree with me, that washing, making holy, and justifying are all gospel terms. So how do you understand that such were some of you?
Well, I think one thing that I think that you and I can agree on, I hope, is that the folks you're talking about were doing something. That they were doing something. That the word is not just describing temptations that they had. So I think it's pretty clear that Paul is saying what they were doing was sinful, and they no longer are doing it. So I mean, to me, that's very clear.
So the Corinthians who had been arsenokoitai and malakoi no longer acted in light of the meaning of those words now that they were in the church and in Christ.
I think that's fair, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, so
And I'm afraid, again, that we lost half the audience going, I have no idea what they're
Oh,
talking
I don't know.
No?
I never,
Okay.
ever put it past an audience. No.
Maybe I've underestimated the audience,
Yeah.
and in which case I deeply apologize. Although I do notice that about a quarter of you were going, no, no, and the rest of you were just kind of going like this. So,
No, I think I think the day is already here where all Christians have to think a whole lot more about this than they ever had before, simply because it's being forced upon us. There's no question about that. But, all right, in light of these things, and I'm trying to honor your desire not to engage in a discussion of texts, though that, of course, is odd in light of the fact that you said in the book that you were deathly afraid when you started your biblical study of two dangers. The one danger would be if the Bible is really saying these things and I tell people it's okay, then I'm leading them down the road to hell. And if the Bible isn't condemning homosexuality, then I'm a legalist. Correct?
I mean, something to that effect.
Oh, well, how would you change that? How would you state it differently? I was trying to be...
Go ahead and ask your question, and I'll...
Okay, well, in light of that, do you see what I said this evening as illustrative of a position of legalism? And hence, possibly a violation of the proclamation of the gospel?
I feel like...
Come on. Don't.
Dr. White, I feel like you're trying very, very hard to get me into a debate on a particular chapter in my book in which I talk about the...
Justin, do you know how much I wish most of my opponents had even read one of my books? So to have it quoted to you, please, I'm just honestly trying to deal with what you actually said.
I know, but part of the challenge for me is that, I'm here heading up an organization of many, many gay Christians and other Christians who deeply disagree on those texts. And I've written a book separately as an individual in which I talk about my journey. It's not a book about those texts. It's a book about my journey. But I do mention in that chapter sort of the struggles that I had with trying to understand the text and different conclusions that I could have come to, and